All right, guys, thanks for tuning into this episode. Today, this is going to be a special video. I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/walldenwallart, and I'm meeting one of my patrons. He's here in San Francisco, so I decided to, meet up with him and then talk about his work, and he's going to show you some of his work, and you can also look at his social media below. So this is Daniel.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, tell us about yourself, what you like to do, what you plan on doing.
So, I guess to start, I discovered that I had artistic talent kind of later on. As a kid growing up, I was never the type of person that you would think had any kind of artistic ability. The first time I tried drawing something, I actually traced over a comic book, and my dad got super upset at me. So I got in trouble over that. So after that, I said, okay, can I just look at something and draw it without tracing? And that's kind of how I started. So this is an example. This might have been one of the first drawings that I ever did. Okay. So this is back in '91, so I was 14 years old at the time.
That's pretty good.
So again, I would just kind of look at different stuff from comics and try to copy it. So obviously.
So you were reading comics at the time, and then you were
inspired
by it.
My dad collected comics all throughout when he was growing up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then I started collecting comics on my own in the 90s, probably.
Was your dad an artist?
No.
No.
If anything, he was more gifted on the writing side of things than anything, even though he wouldn't really write. He was an English teacher.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and again, I never really had any kind of aptitude for drawing growing up. So these are kind of different examples, again, of what I did very, very early on.
You were influenced by Rob Liefeld?
Rob Liefeld was a huge influence for me. Probably the biggest thing that influenced me to really start drawing was a video that I saw Stan Lee hosted with Rob Liefeld starring in it.
Yeah.
And I saw for the first time an artist drawing. Mm-hmm. And I had never seen that before. I mean, I would collect comics all my life, but I had no idea how they were produced.
Yeah, that was the same for me when I first started reading comics. I didn't know that people were actually drawing comics. Right. And then when I realized that, there's people actually drawing it, I thought the computer would just like spit them out and not actually drawn. So when I found out that people can draw, it's like, wow, that just sparked the...
Yeah, it was mind-blowing for me. So I think that's what really just kind of the floodgates just opened up for me. Mm-hmm. And so again, just, first couple years, then I started doing my own characters, and you could see the heavy Liefeld influence for a lot of these characters that I would create. Very, very Rob Liefeld. You could tell by the gun, the pouches, right, the hatch lines.
You got some of that spatter effect going on. Actually, you drew those in, or you spattered?
I think I drew those in.
Yeah.
If I remember, but this was '92.
Okay.
So after that,
colored it too?
Yeah, do a little bit of coloring on some of these pieces. Very, very Rob Liefeld. But again,
you have all the art that you've drawn since you were 14?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Brought it all with me.
Okay. They have smaller folders, like the Itoyo folders, like the same as this, to fit the smaller ones. There's different sizes.
Nice. I need to get that. Yeah, because I've had just stacks and stacks.
And did you color these when you were younger, or you colored them?
No, everything was done. Yeah, this was back in '92, so I was 15 years old.
When you were like in '92 also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, did all that.
Okay.
This was an original piece, one of the first few kind of original pieces that I did. It's a photocopy. I don't know what happened to the original. Okay. Let me see if I can find some later. Because I started kind of getting into a groove. I was very influenced by the image artists. Here I started copying a page from Todd McFarlane's Spawn. I hope that comes out. It's kind of light.
You have the Spawn lines going on.
Yeah.
And then all these crosses there.
And then this was also an original character. Matter of fact, Eric Larson had a character contest in one of the early issues of Savage Dragon, so I had submitted this as my creation.
So when you first started drawing comic books, you were drawing on this size?
Yes.
Yeah. So
usually any type of paper I can find, really.
Not the 11 by 17 size.
No, I didn't discover that until probably, I would guess 94, 95 maybe is when I discovered it. Usually it's just normal paper.
Yeah, so most comic book artists these days, they draw in the larger 11 by 17 size. If you're an aspiring artist and you're just looking to draw, any paper will be okay, but a lot of comic book artists that does it professionally, they have 11 by 17. So if you work for Marvel or you work for DC, they'll send you the Bristol boards, and then you just work directly on top of those Bristol boards. Yeah, so you don't have to buy the boards.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. It was probably around '94. I think it was my senior year that I walked into a comic book store, and the manager who was running the store was an artist. So he said, "No, we sell blue line pages."
Yes.
And it was a set that would have to draw the cover, the interior pages, and then also they had. Let me see if I have them. It was like a where you could do thumbnails. Because I would just sketch things out on paper. Let me see. I might not have brought them with me.
Yeah, artwork upside down.
I have so much artwork on here. Again, just all throughout the years.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. It was this. So this was
layout
included.
pages.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would do my sketches on there, and then I would write my script on there because I would script it out as well. Thank you.
What age did you do all this?
This one I was probably 17 at the time. I would guess, yeah. 16, 17 I think is when I started.
Okay. Let's look through all the pages.
Sure.
Now we're gonna flip through it really quickly. If you want to look at it more, just pause the video. Okay. And then if you have stories, you can tell me
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, a lot of stuff again was
Spawn.
just, there's a Spawn that I did.
A lot of detail. That's the
I did a sketch for the comic book convention that I went to in '97 for Jim Lee. This was a sketch of Spartan, and then I wound up drawing it. This was the colored version.
Yeah.
He actually signed and, well, at the convention, he actually did a sketch for me to correct me.
That's Jim Lee's arm.
That's actually Jim Lee sketching for me, because when I showed it to him, he said, "No, you know what? The lighting is incorrect. Let me show you how I would do it, because the light's hitting this way, so this is how you would do the lines, do the shading."
That's
so
nice.
he actually did that
That's
for
pretty
me.
good.
Yep.
Jim Lee made a cameo appearance.
So that was so awesome. This was a famous
Dale
Hulk
Keown.
cover, Dale Keown.
Yeah.
Yep. So this was '95. I just graduated high school, so I was 18 at the time.
Okay.
And then Mark Silvestri,
Mark Silvestri,
Ripclaw, yes. And then Rob Liefeld, again, such a huge influence on me.
Wow, your work was pretty detailed even at that age.
Yep. And at this point, I wasn't inking at all. It was
Yeah.
mostly just pencil. It's very, very rare that I would ink. This is an original piece of work with my own characters. This was supposed to be a cover for one of my comics.
So with these poses, did you just draw them yourself, or were you referencing other
Some
stuff?
of these I would just do on my own, but at
Yeah.
the time I remember I was referencing quite a bit.
Okay.
For example, this one I remember I believe was Ron Garney that I had referenced
Okay.
for this kind of pose a little bit. And then that's another original piece.
Yeah.
This one, I believe, and this was influenced by an artist named Pablo Marcos, who used to draw Tales of the Zombie.
Yeah.
So then this was kind of the pose a little bit was his, but then I put in my own character for it. This one was Jay Lee, I believe, was the artist, and then I just put in my own characters for it. This was a Jim
You
Lee.
draw pretty good. I never actually looked at a lot of your pencils. I mean, I've been studying some of your inks.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. This is good stuff.
Yep. This is an original, so this
Yeah.
was my own that I did there. This one I did for the convention for Todd McFarlane, which he signed for me.
Oh, look at that.
It's a photocopy, unfortunately. The original had gotten stained.
Yeah.
So I just photocopied it and I drew it, but that's Prophet, and then this was
What
Spawn.
did McFarlane say when he saw this?
He was being interviewed.
Yeah.
My wife, I was on the line for Jim Lee, and my wife was in the line for Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
So I got to talk to Jim, but when she went up to Todd, he was being interviewed.
Yeah.
So he just looked at it, signed it, handed it
Oh,
back.
just move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So didn't get a chance to meet with him. This was an original character.
Okay.
And then this one, trying to do a little jam piece with my characters and
Yeah.
Wolverine.
You have so much work that you can actually make prints and go to conventions and have your own booth.
Nice.
Yeah, no.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That was my own original character. This one was same pose, same everything, but with Prophet.
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld's Prophet. And then using the same idea that I had for Jim Lee, I was creating kind of different characters, same background, same everything, but different character. Then also kind of, these two are the same,
This.
just doing the, yeah.
Yeah. This is the original?
Yeah, I think the idea was come up with a Captain America for different countries.
Yeah.
So this was the one for Mexico, I
Okay.
believe, that I had done. That was '98, so I was 21 years old. This was probably the last stuff that I did before my daughter was born, so this was '99, 2000. I started getting more into a manga anime influence.
Yeah.
So I started, this was from Blade of the Immortal.
So when you were drawing all these things, were you planning on becoming a comic book artist? You were just drawing for
Yes,
fun of it?
that very much so. That
Yeah.
was such a dream for me. to become an artist, because again, I never thought that I had this ability and this talent.
Okay.
And once I started drawing and I saw that I did have some ability for it, I said, this is what I want.
Okay.
Very badly. I think what happened again is once I left the convention in San Diego, since I didn't get work, after that, we kind of decided, well, you know what, it's time to start working, time to start doing something, not be a starving artist, and life took me in a different direction. But it's still always been a dream of mine, yes, absolutely, to break in.
Yeah, so that's what happened to me also when I was working full time at the bank, and then I was thinking of giving myself a year in order to try to see if I could work as a comic book artist. And if I didn't get work, I would just continue working at the bank.
Right.
But then within that 1 year, I was able to get work. I just threw myself in there just to see if it would work. Oh, this is paint drawings.
Yes. Yeah, that was just ballpoint pen, literally, just, ballpoint pen. These were sketches of my own original characters.
So at a young age, you wanted to be a comic book artist?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. This was 2001, so this was when my daughter was born, so these were the last drawings that I did for a very long time. But these were the
sketches. That was only
sketches.
because your dad said my daughter.
So you're like, hi.
Okay.
These are more sketches of my characters.
Okay.
In smaller versions.
So you redrew all these?
Yes, I would draw them small first, and then I did them bigger in a little bit better pose, I guess, maybe. And you could tell most of them had the same body type, so I hadn't really tried to expand it and try to do different body types. Most of them were just very, very much the same. These were headshots of the characters.
This character named Deathlock, have you heard of that?
Yes.
From Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah, I see a little bit of that character, I don't know if that's
Okay, maybe. Might have been a subconscious influence there. Yeah, but these are all the last ones that I did before my...
You're a detailed artist.
Thank you. Yeah, very influenced obviously by the Image guys. Jim Lee, McFarlane, Stephen Platt, Chap Yates. All those artists were huge.
I do know that every so often you would take some of your older pencil pieces and you would start inking them.
Yes.
Yeah, and then what's the thought process behind inking older pieces and not inking newer pieces?
I want to say originally I just wanted to try my hand at it because I had so many pieces that were lying there. But I remember when I first started inking, I had no idea what tools really you can use. So a lot of it was just any pen that I would find at a Walgreens or a Walmart. A lot of it was sometimes even just Sharpies, ballpoint pen. These are just sketches. Let me see if I can find something that was inked. Here we go.
And when did you discover using different pens and different tools? Jim Lee.
This was the one that Jim Lee autographed. There's his autograph right there. That's the one.
This is a nice collection of your work and autographed by other professional artists.
This is one, I've always loved this cover. Todd McFarlane drew this cover for Spider-Man. I want to say it was issue number 5, maybe. And so I just interjected my own character. I had it penciled for years. I penciled it back in 95, and I just inked this last year.
Okay.
Very proud of this piece. I like the way this piece came out.
You were actually trying to get work as a comic book artist way before I even thought of it.
That's how long ago it was, right? Yeah. These were some pages that I had done.
This is really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, this is where I started. I think it was Tom Lyle was the artist.
Okay.
And so again, I would just kind of interject my own characters into the pages. And I was doing my own comic based on that. And I started first, again, on these tiny little sheets of paper. You could tell they were, from a notebook, right?
Yeah.
But I would do...
Have you tried scanning all your artwork so you have them on file?
I've started doing that, yes. I started scanning some of them, yes.
So like, one day you want to ink it, you can ink it, like blow it up into a crystal board and start.
Exactly, and start inking it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then these pages eventually, matter of fact, I want to show...
You have an assistant too.
I do, I have someone that helps me out. So this was, let me see here. This is a better example. This was how I had my comic. Again, before I knew about the 11 by 17 pages.
Okay.
So I just got big paper like this and just folded it in the middle.
Yeah.
And this is where I would do
Daniel, these are nice.
the drawing. And again, I must have been, this was probably about 17 or 18, I think, when I penciled these.
Yeah.
And then eventually I discovered Bristol board and the right size of pages to do. That's the last one.
Okay. Now we have larger pages.
Let me show the larger ones. For a while I did get into color pieces, so I'll show those in a little bit.
Okay.
This was also an original character that I had done.
Not this one.
This was one of the first times, this was myself when I had
Okay.
longer hair, but I started experimenting with watercolor and
Yeah.
watercolor pencil.
Yeah.
This piece, it was a Mark Bagley Spider-Man, but I just interjected my character on there, so this is watercolor pencil, and then I would use a wet brush over it to give it that water look. Just a pencil sketch here.
Okay.
Lead singer of Evanescence.
Yeah.
And then, so
look at
this
background
one,
detail.
that's my character, and I did a color piece on it a few years later, I want to say.
Did you
So,
redraw it?
yes.
You using white box or you
No,
just...
just looking at this, I just redrew it and then painted it in with watercolor.
Okay.
This was watercolor. This was 1999, so I was 22
22?
and I was 21. So
Okay.
this was a year apart
Yeah.
when I did those. This is one of my favorite pieces,
It kind of reminds me of David
watercolor.
Mack's work.
Thank you.
Was that what you were going for?
David Mack, I don't know if he was an influence at the time, but I know certain pieces, which I think I might show later on, he was an influence for sure
Yeah.
on that. This was an original piece as well
Okay.
for a story that I had, which I never fleshed out. This one I just inked recently, I want to say. I penciled it in 2017, so I inked it in 2021, December of 2021.
Okay.
There's definitely things I would change and that I would do better, but this was one of the first times that I experimented a little bit with brush.
Yeah.
To try to do the cloud effect. So there was a few things that I would definitely go back and change. The lighting is different, but you know, I did like this one. This one was inspired by my wife's, one of her students.
Yeah.
He had an idea for a comic book, and I immediately,
Art teacher.
No, I was a special education teacher.
Oh, okay. Okay.
yep, I immediately got the image in my head, the way he described
Yeah.
the character, so this is what I came up with.
Okay.
And
There's a lot of depth in the figure work that you're drawing on the, especially on the heads. Like I see what's in front and what's in back. That's very good.
Yep. And again, this piece, at this point, this was 2020, so I had barely started drawing again.
Okay. You're inking this with a marker?
This is probably a mixture of microns.
Microns?
And I know probably a little bit of brush. It was probably a micron brush,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, probably just microns and micron brush.
Yeah.
This is what I did. This was an old sketch, which I want to go back because a lot of my work, unfortunately, has gotten stained or
Okay.
spilled things on it.
Okay.
This was back from 2003. This I just inked recently. This was,
Was that your pencils too?
no, Michael Turner.
So you.
So I saw an image and then I drew it and I had it just penciled. This is a backing board for a comic.
Yeah.
And then I inked it just recently.
And what you use to ink this with?
Microns.
Microns. Okay.
For almost everything I've used microns.
Microns.
Same thing for this piece. This
Oh,
was
this
Brett
has a
Booth,
Brett Booth?
which I penciled a very long time ago
manual.
and just inked it recently.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then now we get to the bigger pieces. So hopefully there's not too much of a glare.
Okay.
This was a character, when I was at the convention in '97, there was a small comics independent company called Damage Comics.
Yes. I spoke to them
And
before.
so this was their main character.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name, Bloodseed maybe?
Uh-huh.
Don't remember, but they were very nice to me and they said, yeah, if you draw something for us, maybe we could put it as a pinup or as a cover or something. I never wound up sending it to them, but this was
This was
their,
one of the
their
pieces?
character.
Okay.
And kind of, to me, this was influenced by James O'Barr,
Yes.
the artist of The Crow, so I was very much into that at the time, and that was the influence for me at the time.
Okay.
But these were some of my comic pages when I started drawing my own comic. This was the cover, and then the interior pages. These I probably did ink way back then.
Microns.
And probably not even micron, honestly, at the time. I think it was just a normal kind of ink pen that you would find at Walgreens. I probably couldn't afford microns at the time, to be
Yeah.
honest. We couldn't afford very much at
Yeah.
the time. So whatever is inked
Whatever
is...
you can use to ink.
Exactly,
Yeah.
maybe even Sharpie, whatever. I mean, and you could tell on some of these,
They started
the
fading.
ink is faded, yes. So, but whatever type of pen I could use, I would do that.
Okay. So this is like your own book that you were
Yes,
writing?
yes, my own
Okay.
idea, my own characters. I had everything scripted, plotted out, scripted. I believe I did 3 issues altogether.
Drawing here?
And no, I believe I might have only brought the first
Okay.
issue. and most of these are not
You would
inked.
sign your name on the bottom.
Yes.
A lot of Marvel and DC artists, they'll sign
They have it on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most
Okay.
of this stuff I want to say was inked around the same time.
Okay, so let's go back to this one.
Sure.
A lot of times when I'm doing this hatch lines, I'll just go through all the way.
I didn't know
Didn't know
that you
about
could
this.
get
Use
white acrylic or
Yeah.
white ink, so I would have to try to stop myself
Yeah.
at that point, because normally I go like this
It's harder
when I'm
to
doing the
stop.
lines. So yeah, so that's why you can see it's not very even at some
Yeah.
at certain points. But yeah, again, I didn't know the tricks of the trade
Now you
at that
do.
point. Now I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think the rest of these are probably just penciled work.
This could actually be a publisher comic, right?
And that was always the thought, you know,
Yeah.
that was always the idea. I wanted to get published. And because also I can write, yes,
Yeah.
I think I could write. So, you know, it made it kind of easier for me because I would plot out ideas, I had characters, I would write out scripts.
Why not self-publish instead of finding a publisher?
I had thought about that.
Yeah.
I just, to be honest, again, because I barely started drawing recently.
Yeah.
And you know how much time it requires, obviously, from start to finish. That's why right now, to be honest, I'm more focused on the inking aspect
Yeah.
of things, because I know from a penciling standpoint, I'm not where I need to be. And I would still want to keep practicing and improving myself more as an artist. And I'm still doing that obviously as an inker. I'm not saying I'm you know, an expert or anything. There's still a long ways for me to go. But that's probably the easiest way, and just because of my job and the time that's required, I would probably want to go that route instead of going, you know, full-on penciler, writer, inker,
Yeah, yeah.
all that. These are the last few pages of it. I think I did 24 pages was the first issue.
It's nice work, Daniel.
And I have thought actually about kind of re-going over these, redrawing them with what I know now, see how I would render them differently, draw more backgrounds, and then ink them again. This was the last
A lot of
page.
blue lines and then kind of like touch it up and
Sure.
add up the pencils and
Sure.
and then ink it.
This was the cover to issue number 2, I believe.
You enjoy doing backgrounds. I know a lot of artists with in comic books or drawing comic books, they're all about the characters and not so much
Right,
backgrounds.
right.
Yeah, you put details.
I would try to put detail, but it requires obviously a lot of time, and it's very, you know, you got to be very precise with your perspective and all that stuff, so it takes a while. This was part of issue number 2. And that one I was using some type of brush. I don't know what type of brush I would have used at that point, but this was not Micron, so I don't know what I used for the hair back then.
This one took a while, right?
This was 2003 that I inked it.
Yeah.
Pencil in 97. This one I did fairly recently, 2018. It was from a sketch, literally just on a sheet of paper where I had an idea of a bunch of demons flying around in a very cloudy sky. And I wanted to do the clouds with a lot of just very fine little detailed lines. I still see, again, a lot of flaws in the work, but this was fun to do, just
Yeah.
to just kind of lose myself in all the line work.
I see you getting the ink ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so I could see the different types of pens and the width of the lines and all that. Again, this one, Rob Liefeld, right, Shaft.
I think I've seen this one.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this one was fun to do because, again, I really wanted to put in a lot of
textures and
detail. And I don't believe I used very much ruler, to be honest. I wanted to try to do as much freehand as I could. A lot of the tapering, unfortunately, like this part, you know, I want to go back there and do it again. But there's certain parts that I really do like. So this was just kind of inspiring me to do more. This one, quick story on this one. When I went to that San Diego comic book convention, I had heard that to get work, you had to do 4-page samples to show to editors. So I did a 4-page sample of Thor for Marvel, and I knew full well I was never going to hire at Marvel, but I just wanted to get advice from an editor, which they were great at doing, and they were very kind. This one was for Rob Liefeld. It was Prophet. I did 4 pages, and I believe I brought all 4 pages. And genuinely, in my head, I had built up this entire kind of ideal that because Rob had influenced me so much, and literally because of him, I had started drawing and discovering that I could draw comics. I thought, I'm going to meet him, I'm going to show him my artwork, he's going to be blown away by it, and he's going to say, Danny, you know what, maybe you can draw. I think it was at that point, it was either Extreme or Awesome Comics, I'm not sure which one it was, but I thought, and anyways, when I met him, he was actually busy. He wasn't at his booth, he was busy. I want to say he might have been with his wife, so I got up to him, he was kind enough to autograph a comic for me. But when I said, I've got some artwork I want to show you, he said, you know what, I got to go do something else. Hit me up at my booth later on. And we were so overwhelmed at the convention and just trying to go here, go there. And the place was enormous, right? San Diego, the convention is enormous.
Yeah.
So we never got a chance to see him again.
Yeah.
So I left really dejected because I was kind of proud of the work at the time.
Yeah.
And I really thought maybe I could get a shot. So after I left, I was like, I can't believe I didn't get a chance to meet him. But this was penciled again in '97, and I just inked it just a few months ago in July.
Okay.
I just inked this in July.
Oh, this is freehand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very steady hands.
Yes. Penciled it, when I penciled it, I did use a ruler to try to get the perspective and everything, but I inked it freehand. And then these are the other pages, still in pencil, page 2, and then page 3 over here. Prophet fighting a bunch of, I guess, android creatures, monsters, whatever it was, while he's being watched by the bed. I want to say I just follow him specifically on Instagram, but I don't really, I'm not very active on Facebook at all. So, and then that was page 4. So very, very whole.
This one here?
Yes, this one I found online, and I apologize, I went too heavy on the blue lights.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
So it came out, too green.
Yeah.
I've got the settings down now, but this was Aaron Lopresti.
Even darker.
Wow. Wow.
Depends on if they can see it.
Yeah.
But once you scan it, you can like knock out all the blues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've made copies online, of course, and so we knock out all this, so you just see the black and white. But this one, I just inked it in
It's nice that you work with Daniel on this.
She's my assistant. She helps me out, absolutely.
Do you spot all the
I tell them, I'm like, hey, right there, or hey. So,
She corrects me when
I
I
correct them. It's either one of us, but we're
Because
trying
I
to.
had fun on this piece. This was fun to do. I like this artist a lot. This was fun to do. This one, again, an image I found online. I don't know who the artist is other than the last name. It says White.
Okay.
But this was a great Spawn piece.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was a big Spawn fan when I was younger, so I loved inking this piece. I just inked this probably about a month ago. This one is one of my favorite covers of all time. So for me to ink it myself, it was a very strange feeling for me, especially because when I see it, I'm actually really proud of the way it came out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good. I tend to be very critical of my own work, but this one I was really very, very proud of. I really enjoyed it. And again, it blows my mind that here I am.
This is recent.
Yes, this was probably about a month ago.
Yeah.
And here I am at 45 years old doing something like this, and I never thought I had this ability to do anything like this.
Wait until you start inking a professional artist. The feeling you're describing right now, it feels like you're working with someone.
That would be a dream come true for me to do that. Because yes, I mean, this is Jim Lee. This is, a god amongst artists, and then here I am with my name underneath his, right? I know it's not for publication, but just to be able to say, wow, I did that, and it came out pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then this was Mark Silvestri. I had a blast doing this because he has such a loose style, and so I could really just, I tried to mimic his style as best as I could, but it was really fun to do. This was
used a lot in interpretation in his work. Yeah, all your lines are pretty clear. Yes,
this was fun to do.
Spaced nicely. You're doing the bloops too. Are you following his bloops or are you creating your own bloops? Bloops as in like these little extra bigger bumps.
I would try to follow him.
Yeah. Okay.
I would try to follow him because I see he would do that a lot. Some of these might have been more me.
Yeah.
Especially up here on some of these, possibly. So I don't know. He might not have.
Were you using a micron? Or
Yes.
Using quill? So you can mimic this group. You're pressing hard and you draw the line. When you draw the line, you lift up and you press it back down.
Yes, correct. Yep. And I just barely bought some Hunts 102 quills, so I will be practicing with those because it seems like I can get the same line much easier than with a micron using the nibs. So I will definitely practice with those. Now this is special for you.
For me?
This is my gift to you.
Okay.
This is why I asked you what your favorite character is.
Okay.
When you
this
said
is
Deadpool.
Did you draw this?
I drew this. So
Pencil?
this is a cover that Steve McNiven drew for Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And I love the image, and it's so detailed and to me difficult, right, to replicate. So I said, I'm going to do this for
Okay.
Walden.
You have to do that.
So you've done a lot for me.
Yeah.
So
No,
I had to do something in return. So I actually, this is, I have a print that I did. That's why I asked you also about print. So the
Yeah.
print is for you.
Okay.
And I have the original
Okay.
in here as well. So this was really fun because this was the first time I used effects with white ink.
Yeah.
I got to use a white acrylic. It was the gel pens, I believe, and I liked the way it kind of broke up on me. So that was a nice effect, but I used a little bit of brush.
Have you ever tried using a razor
windows.
blade and just cut into the black?
I never have.
Yeah.
I learned about that technique, but I've never tried that.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like that it did that for me just
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah.
Because immediately I
That
thought of
works
that
too.
razor blade effect,
Yeah.
yes.
That looks
But
nice,
this
Daniel.
is for you.
Oh, thank
This
you.
one is for you.
That's very nice
Yep.
of you.
And that's pretty much it. That's where we are currently, as of right now.
Okay, so any of you artists, publishers, and editors are watching this video, and you need someone to hire someone, contact Daniel. How can they reach you? Tell us how can you reach
So best way to reach me, I guess, would be through Instagram.
Instagram.
So I'm listed on there as Darkstar1031
Okay.
through Instagram, or really, I'm not big on social media, to be honest. I need to grow more of a presence on social media.
Okay.
Whatever I post on Instagram gets posted automatically to my Facebook page as well.
So Darkstar Instagram, that's the name of the social media page?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep, sorry, Dark DMR.
Dark
1031.
DMR.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
Okay, so I'm also going to show everyone the page. So right over here, this is Daniel's Instagram page. Yeah, I'm also going to list it below the video description. Okay, anything else you want to say?
This is something that again, anytime I draw, it's like I come to life. I've been working for my company for 18 years. As a professional, I work very hard at what I do. But whenever I do anything artistic, I truly feel like, and I know it sounds very melodramatic, but I truly feel like it's my calling. I truly feel like this is what I should be doing.
You can sit there for hours.
Yes,
and
yes.
time just flies by.
It does. I don't want to stop. My family has to stop me sometimes because I'm like, no, I'm in the groove. I want to finish this last little piece, or, then I get inspired to do something else. Yeah, if I could break into comics in any way, shape, or form, that would be a dream. My family knows how much it means to me. My dad, who collected comics since he was a kid back in the 60s, is no longer with me. But I always imagined, especially after that convention back in '97, I wanted to show him my name in a comic book. And for him to see that, because he was so passionate about comics, and he loved them, and he had this huge collection, and my first memories are of him reading comics to me. And I just fell in love with them. And again, growing up, I never thought I had that ability. So, unfortunately, I didn't get that chance to do that. But I still hopefully, would have that chance
You will.
with my family. But it just, I'm sorry, it would just mean a lot to me.
Okay, so I want you to talk into the camera as if there's a writer or a publisher or editor, and I want you to tell them to contact you. I want you to talk to them as if they're watching you right now.
So I want to say, first of all, maybe this is meant to be because now that I'm older, I have a different work ethic. I'm all about deadlines. I'm about professional communication. I'm about doing things the right way. I'm a very hard worker, and I'm very passionate about what I do. If anyone out there is listening that is looking for someone that is dependable, that is passionate, that truly loves what they are doing, I'm definitely your guy. I'm willing to learn. I accept feedback very well. I'm very critical of my own work. I can hit deadlines. I'm willing to do, honestly, whatever it takes, because this is truly my dream. And so if you want, again, someone that could check those boxes, hit me up.
Thank you, Daniel, for showing me all your work, and it's great meeting you here in person. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
Walden. This was, again, a great opportunity. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate this. I'm very far from home. I'm in San Francisco right now. I live in West Texas, so we're very far away, and this is just Definitely a highlight of my trip for me.
Oh, thanks. So Daniel was he's one of my patrons, and he said, I'm just going to come to San Francisco and see Walden. So I can show him my stuff. So this is what happened. So if you're interested in my Patreon page, check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/WaldenWongArt. There's different tiers and links. In which tier are you on? Do you remember?
I am on the mentorship tier, I believe.
And the mentorship tier is the one where I'll look at your art and do art review videos. Great, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And any last words?
Guys, I recommend, if you are aspiring artists, for sure, take a look at Walden Wong's page, follow his videos on YouTube. Definitely sign up if you're wanting to break in, or even if you want to improve as an artist. Walden is very down to earth, very generous with his time, with his communication. If you want to improve as an artist, I cannot recommend him highly enough. So guys, please take a look at his page, his videos, and sign up for his Patreon. I recommend it.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay. Free pitch.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.